Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 11 is coming up real quickly this week, and we have some very interesting spots to attack. We have very small amount of spots that we can attack because DraftKings has juiced up the pricing so much. I'm going to tell you ahead of time. For this NFL DFS weekend on DraftKings, there are very few optimal stacking options. The least that I have ever seen in like 11 years of playing on DraftKings and doing DFS content on all these different platforms. This is the worst week. Last week was previously the worst week. This week, I have 2 stacks. I'm going to give you 5, but there are 2 stacks that grade out on my personal stack grading as positive stacks on median projection. Now, what does that mean? Typically, I've got 8, 9 stacks that grade out on a full slate like this one with 11 games that grade out above 0, with anywhere from like a 2 to an 8.5 grade being the best on the season. This week, there are 2 stacks. They grade around 4. Nothing else is above a 0. So we're going to talk about them. We're going to try and find the way there. And I wish you the best of luck this weekend. So drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 11 Smiz Gang Listener League is posted on DraftKings. It's not in the lobby, so the only way to get there is to go to smizzle.tv/links. There's a link right down below in the pinned comment. Go down there, drop a like on that link. Not on the link, but on the pinned comment to let me know that you see it. $10 to enter, 3 max, 4,000 people in. It's the best tournament on DraftKings because there's absolutely no rake. No service fee from DraftKings. They put this up there as a courtesy to our community because you guys are so awesome. So go over to the link tree. It's right here. Right down here, you'll find the Smiz Gang Listener League. You click on that, it'll take you there. Also, just today on Thursday, while I'm recording this video every time on Thursday, Best Buys just came out on ESPN. You can click that, it'll take you right there. ESPN Plus article, it's right here. I don't write the titles, but I like the title. Daily Fantasy Week 11, DFS Best Buys tried to corral all the Cowboys. You get it? Do you get it, chat? Let's start with the Cowboys. They're on the cover. The copywriter wrote that as the title, so here it is. Dak Prescott, one of the top 2 stacks on the week. They are one of the fastest teams in the league. Overall, top 5 in the league on pace are the Cowboys, but they were not fast when Cooper Rush was under center. With Dak Prescott under center, they are like top 2, top 3 in the league in terms of pace of play. So they get a lot of plays off in a game. They play very fast, and also Minnesota, one of the top 5 teams in pace. So this, the fastest game on the slate with 2 really good offenses. And though Dallas's defense has been good, they've allowed scoring to teams that can score some points, and also teams like Chicago, 29 last week against Green Bay. They allowed 31 points in that one. It's not a situation where teams can't score against these Cowboys. Hopefully we find our way back to the carnival days like we've seen in previous seasons. Dak Prescott, it's going to be tight to stack around him. CeeDee Lamb, the best option, 15 targets last week, 7, 6, 10. Like, he has been their number 1 guy. Also, in all the games that he has played with Dak Prescott, sandwiched around the injury that he sustained earlier in the middle of the season, 9 targets, 4 targets, then Dak went out. The last 3 games, 5 or more targets in those games, with specifically 15 in the last 2, 5 or more catches in each of the last 3 games, 17 DraftKings points, 13 DraftKings points, only 4,300. He is extremely solid to utilize with that stack. And then also Michael Gallup has done well as well at 5,100, at least provide you with a little bit of salary relief with 13 targets each of the last 2 games. Let's head over to Underdog Fantasy, and if you don't already have an account at Underdog Fantasy, use that promo code ALSMIZZLE, ALSMIZZLE, all one word. You get up to $100 deposit bonus on your first deposit to the site. Let's go nuts with this game, okay? Let's just go higher on Dak Prescott. Let's go higher than 43 receiving yards. Let's take a look at the other side. Let's go higher on this one, higher on this one. So I got a 4-man pick 'em. Let's go for $50 to win 500. We'll submit that. And since I just hit that up, why don't we just talk about Kirk Cousins, the only other positively graded stack on the week. We have not seen a massive game from him. When you double stack your quarterback, you're looking for 30-point games, because when a quarterback has a 30-point game, they can trail along and bring along 2 other pass catchers with them that have really, really big days that catapults you to the top of tournaments. Now, we have not seen a 3-touchdown day from Kirk Cousins. We have not seen a massive day from Kirk Cousins. We saw his biggest passing day last week against Buffalo, where he threw for 357 when he threw it 50 times. They're playing very well as a team. They're playing at home. Weather control is a big, important thing on this slate this week in week 11. It's something you have to monitor. Dalvin Cook has been good. We're not going to pair him, even though he's coming off of 17 targets in the last 3 games. We have to hope that they have to throw this ball this week, where I'm game script you're hoping for when you play Minnesota is one that everything goes through Justin Jefferson at 9,100, right? If you're going to pay up to get Justin Jefferson, he's been paying off. 25.2 fantasy points per game, DraftKings points per game on the season, 100-yard bonus, 4-5 of the last 6 games. The only game he didn't, he had 98 receiving yards. These 5 touchdowns are way too few. Considering the volume, considering the end zone targets, which he is one of the league leaders in that category, he should have way more touchdowns, 8-9 touchdowns at this point in the year. So assuming that the volume is going to stay the same, and there's no reason to think that it won't, Justin Jefferson could be seeing a touchdown avalanche in the second half. It's already started, right? He's got 1 in each of the last 2 weeks. You can't get this much usage, this many targets, be this good as Justin Jefferson. He's an absolute alien. But fitting him is going to be difficult this week. Somebody else who has been extremely good since that trade, 19 targets the last 2 weeks for TJ Hawkinson. He's 5,300, provides you some salary relief. Adam Thielen is he's fine. He's not thrilling. He hasn't done anything great. He's got 2 touchdowns, not getting the end zone targets that he used to get. The 7 or more targets in every game since week 2 is at least encouraging, because he could stumble into the end zone once. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he stumbles in there twice on 7 targets. And the 7 targets in each game since the acquisition of TJ Hawkinson is also quite reassuring, as his targets could have gone down with TJ Hawkinson taking over the number 2 space on the team in terms of target market share. If you wanted to get really off the reservation, you go with somebody like KJ Osborne. Do not expect 11 targets once again. He is just a full-on dart throw that maybe he catches a long touchdown as a part of that stack. But they are the second best stack on the slate. And these are the only 2 stacks that grade out as positive. Every other stack is a puke stack, okay? Some of them are less pukey than others, because Josh Allen's not very pukey at all. He's pretty awesome, to be honest with you. So the narrative right now is that this is going to be a massive blizzard game along the lines of the 2013 game between Philadelphia and Detroit, where they were making snow angels on the field and everything else. Taking a look over at rotogrinders.com, the Kevin Ross weather report, he does not agree. He mentions the 3 to 5 feet of snow for the game, and he says, well, that's not wrong. It's not exactly right either. He's going to take the under on 6 feet of snow in Buffalo in general, but more importantly, the vast majority of the snow will fall in the days leading up to Sunday, which means that most of the snow should be cleared during actual game time hours. The latest forecasts that he's seeing are calling for less than an inch of snow falling, though that is subject to change. That to me is the most telling part of all of the Josh Allen weather narrative this weekend. If there was 3 feet of snow, blizzard conditions during the game where it's collecting on the field, that's a problem. But if you're telling me that the fine folks in upstate New York, in Western New York, are bad at clearing snow that's already fallen once that snow stops falling or greatly slows down, you'd be mistaken. They're fantastic. I went to school in Syracuse. I understand that it can blizzard overnight, and then by 9 a.m., 10 a.m. the next morning, the roads are salted, they are plowed, everything's out the way. They're going to do everything they can to make this field playable. And if it's only a half inch of snow or an inch of snow or less during game time, I have a sneaking suspicion that Josh Allen is going to be massively underplayed. Yes, there's going to be wind, as long as that's around 15 miles per hour. I think that the Josh Allen has shown that he is unaffected by winds of that speed, making him, as always, a really high ceiling quarterback on a slate where we can't really get to a lot of different stacks optimally. However, Stephon Diggs, perfectly fine play this week if those are the conditions. Monitor this all the way up until game time on Sunday morning, because the playability of this game is a massive if-then statement. Whatever morning show you watch, if you watch Fantasy Football Now, if you watch whatever channel, NBC, ABC, whatever channel you watch for pregame, watch when they cut away. Check on Twitter to the beat writers. I have a friend in the building. I'm going to be asking him that morning, what are the field conditions going to be like for this game? Is there going to be snow on the field? Because if not, if it's just snow piled up around the outside with light flurries during the game, not even like a flurry, just hey, it's snowing. stick your tongue out, see if you can catch one. Like, that's fine. They will score as many points as they can in those sort of conditions. Now, if it's blizzard conditions, totally different story. Monitor it up until game time. The other stackable options, Gabe Davis is really expensive at 6,300 for what he brings to the table. Really low floor, really high ceiling. Not sure that you can get there to Gabe Davis in lineups that have Steph Diggs and Josh Allen, unless you find some serious value to surround them with and kind of make the rest of your lineup really ugly. Isaiah McKenzie not getting a lot of targets, full-on dart throw play. If you wanted to stack him through Devin Singletary, I'm not super pro doing that unless you're just saying, look, I think this game is going to be underplayed and go well over the total, then fine. It does not correlate well, but Dawson Knox does at tight end and gives you that value that you can play in this spot. Now, more than other weeks, I think that it's a 2 tight end week, especially the further you get away from the optimal, the more lineups you build. And I definitely think cash game, it's viable. I don't think it's necessary in cash games, but I think you can build your cash game lineups that way. But I think you're going to see a lot more 2 tight end than normal because of how juiced up and jacked up the wide receiver pricing is this week. Joe Burrow, also a puke stack this week. The game total here is 41.5. They did play once already this year. They ran like 90 plays in this game. I don't expect that. Joe Burrow did throw it 53 times. He threw for 338 yards, picked like 4 times, had a couple of fumbles, and it was an ugly game. So like, people are going to game log watch and say, oh, look, he already put up like 26 fantasy points. Joe Burrow's fine. He also had Jamar Chase for that game. He does not have him for this game, though Chase should be back next week. We have reasonable-ish prices on the wide receivers here with Higgins and Boyd, and with Hurst at, playing north of the wall, getting a bunch of targets. But everything's a puke stack. Like I said, there's no value. It's really, really ugly. One of Higgins or Boyd with Hurst would be probably where your Burrow stacks are going to go this week. And the ultimate, the puke of all puke stacks, Taylor Heineke, the man on the plane with the bush light. He's averaging 15 fantasy points a game. At least he plays Houston. At least they're in a weather-controlled situation. He does give you an accessible ceiling for somebody like Terry McLaurin, something that's been missing from McLaurin in terms of market share, in terms of big playability, in terms of volume. You can get to Terry McLaurin here. If you wanted to go with Thomas or Bates, fine. Curtis Samuel's been putting up like some numbers, although very limited targets the last 3 games with 4. I'm telling you, this is how ugly it is this week, guys. This is it. Welcome to the show. This is how gross week 11 is. This is your puke stack. These guys right here. It's disgusting. I'm mad at myself for even suggesting Taylor Heineke stacks, but life comes at you fast, especially when it's week 11. Let's head over to Fantasy Labs. You can check out everything they have over at Fantasy Labs by going to smizzle.tv/labs with an uppercase L. That link is also down below. Get you a discounted membership. The best value is the 8-month membership. I'm going to allow tight ends and flex because I hate everything. DraftKings, fix the GD pricing. We'll build 150 lineups around those quarterbacks that we kind of detailed here. Make sure that you are doing everything that you have to do in terms of not just going to Fantasy Labs, clicking generate and thinking that you're going to like copy one of these lineups and win yourself $1 million. It doesn't just work that way. You got to spend a lot of time making sure you get the allocations and the combinations that you're looking for across your 150 lineups. It's a great tool to cut down your work time. So go check out everything that they have for not just NFL, but college football, NBA, golf, NHL, NASCAR, MMA, everything over at fantasylabs.com, and look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.